Hello, friends. Hello, patriots. My name is Kathy Norton, and this is a little episode of Prophetic Intercession. Many times when I get a dream that is from the Lord, it is very, very telling. So I'm going to be doing a series of at least 2 videos to release 2 dreams and a vision God has given me about what's going on in the last 4 months. And I'm going to begin with the first dream today, and I'm going to explain what I believe God is talking about in this dream, and then watch for another video coming out tomorrow on the second dream. So the first dream is actually called the Dance of COVID-19. So in this dream, I'm sitting in a Greek-style theater where the stage is low and all the seats go up very high. And every seat is a good seat. Every seat you have perfect view of the stage. And I'm sitting in there and the place is absolutely packed. And this man comes out on stage dressed in black tights, dance shoes, a cutaway, very, very tailored cutaway coat, jacket, very tailored, and a top hat. And he begins to dance, and his athleticism and his moves are amazing. He's actually able to jump and spin in the air, not 5 times like the Olympians do on the ice. I'm talking 15 times he could spin in the air, and he would go so high that he actually would go up to the rafters in where the lights are, and he would spin up there. And this went on for a few minutes, and the crowd was absolutely impressed, captivated by this man and his moves and his athletic ability, his ability to keep our eyes on him. He was so amazing. And he kept jumping and kept spinning, and finally, on one of his jumps, he came down and landed so hard on the floor of the stage that he broke through and made a hole in the stage and went under the stage. And the whole audience was like, oh! And we were watching, we were looking, we were watching, and all of a sudden he came shooting, bursting up out of that hole and began spinning more. And he was dancing and spinning more times. He kept falling though. Every time he went in the air, he fell through that hole and he made a bigger hole. And every time that he came through that hole, bursting back up to dance some more, he became weaker and weaker. As a matter of fact, I want to go back to his first fall. I forgot to mention this. After he fell through that hole and he came bursting back up, I remember in the dream I was thinking, I wonder if there's a trampoline underneath that stage. Anyway, he kept dancing and he kept falling. And every time he fell, he made the hole in that stage bigger. And he kept falling and making the hole bigger and kept falling. And finally, he couldn't even bounce off that trampoline anymore. He was crawling out of that hole. He had both of his elbows up on the edge of the hole in the stage. He had those crisscross bandages on his forehead in this dream. And then I saw little birds flying around his head, and I heard cuckoo, 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 just like in the cartoons. And then I heard the Lord say in the dream, I heard him say, and that was the end of the dance of COVID-19. Okay, so here's what I believe that interpretation is. I believe that the COVID-19 came on the world stage and everybody was completely captivated by it. Nobody knew anything about this COVID-19. Nobody knew how to treat it. The scientists said they didn't know anything about it. And yet, at the same time, we had scientists, I'm not going to name any names, but 2 doctors coming out on stage and giving us the picture that it was going to be 2.1 million deaths in America alone. Those were their projections, 2.1 deaths. So since that time, there's just been a whole lot of other people, a whole lot of other organizations that have come out on stage to do their dance for the COVID-19. We have found out that the WHO, the World Health Organization, is corrupt. We found out also that most of our pharmaceuticals were being manufactured over in China by a communist country. I don't think we really want all of our medications coming from China. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. We have seen, since then, we have seen many governors and mayors completely overreach with their authority and lock down their city, lock down their state. I was just recently traveling through the state of Kansas, and I can tell you, you know, the middle of Kansas, the western part of Kansas is not very populated, and that governor mandated a mask for everybody out there in western Kansas. I think they can social distance there a little bit, don't you? So what we've been seeing are government people, government officials, even the medical community, some of the medical community, Facebook, Twitter, all of the social media coming out on stage, doing their dance, and actually putting on display for Americans to see their corruption and to see their lies. We even had people in the medical community come out and say healthy people should not be wearing masks. And guess what? The social media giants silenced their voices, censored them, removed them from Facebook, removed them from Twitter, removed them from YouTube. They were silenced. And anybody that decided they didn't want a mask was shamed, completely shamed. So we have just seen all of this people coming out, and all of these organizations for the last few months coming out and dancing their little dance. Now, something that occurred to me early today, the trampoline underneath the stage was giving the COVID a false power. It was making the COVID appear more powerful than it is. So there's many different things that could be that trampoline. The biggest one that I can see is the media drumming things up, beating their drums. For example, the first projection was 2.1 million deaths from the COVID. And then all of a sudden, now we're at, I believe the last number was right around 130,000 deaths in the United States from COVID. And that is a sad thing. That is a lot of families grieving, but it's not anywhere near 2.1 million. However, now we have the media beating on our president because now he is responsible for 130,000 deaths. Are you seeing this? Are you seeing the falseness of it? So that is the end of that dream. That is my interpretation of it. That is what I believe the Holy Spirit showed me about it. Tomorrow I'm going to post the next dream. And with that post, I'm going to tell you who God has shown me who will be next up on that stage. That's coming tomorrow. Now, I just ask you, because we all know in part and we see in part, I ask you to pray into that dream I just told you about. And place your comments in the comment section if you feel like the Holy Spirit is showing you something else that we need to know about this COVID-19 and its true power and what it really has going on for it. Okay, guys, thanks so much for listening. Thanks for giving me a voice here, and I appreciate you all, and I'll catch you next time.